who gets the care and who doesn't get the care. And that's why keeping this thing at bay so that the hospitals don't get overwhelmed, so they can treat as many people as possible. That's why we're doing this.
Hi, I'm Maria, otherwise known as the Fit Foodie. I'm a chef, holistic nutritionist, author, inventor, and mom. And I want to welcome you to my podcast. It's called Recipes for Your Best Life. And with every episode, I'm peeling back the onion on fitness, nutrition, health, wellness, and family. The truth is, you're the chef of your life. And for every important pillar, there's a great recipe worth sharing. So every week, we'll explore them together. Think of it as food for thought that you can really sink your teeth into. So join me, and let's squeeze the joy out of this life, because you only get one. Can I get a fork, yeah? Imagine this scenario. You've overcome the health battle of your life. You're working with famous people in the recording world. You have an amazing family, wife, kids, living your life to the fullest, riding along in the San Diego ocean breeze. And then the next day, you're in the hospital for 35 days with a 10% chance of survival. That's what happened to Niels Schroeter, a professional artist manager with over 20 years of experience in the music industry with well-known record labels. 9 years ago, Niels formed his own company in pursuit of a more balanced life. And after overcoming cancer in his early 20s, he experienced a freak health issue that put him into an induced coma for 2.5 weeks. Niels offers a refreshing perspective on how he finds balance and a healthy outlook despite his circumstances, and particularly in these times of COVID-19. This is an episode you're not going to want to miss. So let's listen to my friend and inspiration, Niels Schroeter. Niels, it's so nice to have you on.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we met almost a decade ago, which it floors me that time really does fly. And at that time, you were making a big transition into your own thing. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm in the music business, right? So I had been with a company for about 21 years, I think. Yeah, it was going on 21 years. And it just, for me, got, I don't know, I reached that point in my life where I was just like, is this all it's going to be? I'm working for a company. It was a cool company. It wasn't that big. I think it was like 6 or 7 people at the time. Management company that also had an independent label side, independent music publishing. On paper, it was the perfect job. But I just felt like, wow, is this it? Has this, this thing that I started working in my 20s, is this all I'm going to do? And I had reached a point where I thought, you know what, I got to try something else, because if I don't, I'm going to be, I know I'll regret it if I don't go and try to do something on my own.
What were you doing in that role exactly?
I was the general manager of basically a record company that also had artist management division and a publishing division, and also lifestyle marketing. We had, among others, we had Pepsi as a client in lifestyle marketing. I mean, all 6 of us.
We're talking big clients.
Yeah.
High profile.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That must have been stressful.
Yeah, it was. I mean, when you're in artist management, you're always on. And it's not so much that it was stressful that we had, angry or difficult clients, because we didn't, but it's just you're always on. And if there's ever a problem, you get the call. And I would get problems I would get calls at 2 a.m. on December 23rd. Wow. That was just part of the, it was part of the gig.
Do you think part of what happened when you kind of woke up, and I can so relate to that because I had the same experience. I was kind of in a career job for a long time, and then just sort of was like, is this all it's going to be? You know,
That was it for me.
To do my own thing.
That was it. It was like,
it must have been a buildup though, right?
It was. And I think a lot of it had to do with lifestyle. You know, when you own when you're your own boss, you do get to call your own shots. And as great as it was, there wasn't a lot of flexibility. You know, there was no working from home. It was all had to be in the office. It was, I don't know, how do I put it? It just felt very constraining. You know, you had to be a certain way. There were limitations on what you could do. You were expected to be in the office from say 9:30 to 6:30 or 7 every day. And not that that's bad, but I really wanted to be, I think the real thing was I really wanted to be involved with my kids' lives. And that was the family and that was the number one driver. And what I saw with the guy who owned the company, and he had every right to do it, he was at everything. You know, he was at every baseball practice, every game, everything, right? And I wanted that. And I thought, you know what? The only way I can really have that is to do my own thing because, you know, hey, he's the one taking the risk. He's the one who, you know, maybe had to mortgage his home to meet payroll for a while, you know? So I wanted that. And so in order to have it, you had to take the leap and you had to do your own thing and you had to be in a position to really make your own hours. And I got to tell you, that's been the most amazing thing. It's that freedom to be able to do things with the family. Like I've been coaching baseball now for 7 years. My son's 10 years old. He started playing when he was 4, and I've been coaching his teams for 7 years, and you know, super involved in the league. I'm on the board. My wife is on the board. My wife runs the snack bar there. You know, it's just our daughter works in the snack bar, and it's just been this really amazing community experience that with my old situation, I would definitely not have been able to have, would not have been able to have and participate in.
So you transitioned into forming your own company, still in the music industry, and you created Blue Elan Records.
Well, I didn't create it. It was started by a guy named Kirk Passage. He started the company. He and his son Connor had started the company, and they were signing acts, but they didn't have any infrastructure together to promote the acts. And so through a mutual friend who happened to be a producer on 3 of their projects, I was brought in to bring sense to the whole organization, you know, create the infrastructure, get distribution, hire publicity, hire other, you know, radio promotion, drive all other marketing. And that's been something I've been doing for 5 years. So it started out as just this idea from a guy who was outside of the music business. He works in insurance law and has done incredibly well. And then he, you know, he's passionate about music, started this company, brought me on to be the general manager. And we grew it. I brought in about 7 acts to the label that I signed. And now I think we're at like 25 acts, 12 employees, 5 years in. It's things are really, it's really cool. It's been fun to watch grow.
What kind of music acts do you work with? I'm just curious.
It's all over the place. I mean, I've sort of grown into working a lot with music I like, which is what's, you know, under the very broad term of Americana. So it's sort of like it's country, but not, you know, it's got roots and country elements, but I don't know, it's just good music for older people.
So I have to share
I'm sorry, but it's what they, it's
listen to, like something that you can groove to from 60s on.
Well, what they call it, they sort of call it like the punk rock retirement plan. You know, it's a lot because it comes from a lot of the artists are sort of from that whole punk rock ethos, and you know, they're tired of just, you know, screaming and banging their heads. They just kind of got into this groove. It's still, it's cool though. It's cool.
I love it. I mean, music is the soundtrack of our lives. And I always, you know, music has played and does play such an important role in my life. I have to share that, I don't know if you know this, but we created a rap video called the
cool.
Cleaner Rap. And I wrote and produced a rap song for Eat Cleaner with a good friend of mine. And we created a whole video and everything. And I have to say, like, it was really one of the most exhilarating things I've ever done. Like, I'm not going to quit my day job, but it was so much fun to create music. And I can only imagine that being around other creative people and being around like that energy must be just indescribably exciting.
When it's going well, there's nothing else like it. You know, when you know you're onto something, when you've got something that's coming together. I worked with Brian Setzer for a long time.
Oh,
and yeah, and he's just so great. In fact, he called me over the weekend. It was so great to hear his voice. And he was one of our primary clients back in my old job. And when he was, you knew, like when you were in the middle of a hit happening, there was really nothing like it. It was the best high of all time. There's nothing that compares to that.
And when you are able to be a part of somebody's journey, do you feel that level of excitement for them as much as you would feel for your own, like if it was you on that label? I can only imagine, like, just seeing what you've done to help them get there. You may not be but you're getting them there.
Yeah, you're definitely involved. And I remember, you know, the greatest feeling that you get is standing off on by the side of the stage, looking out at a huge sold out room, watching the band play, and just looking at the faces of the people in the audience. Mm-hmm. That is the greatest reward. There's nothing like it. And the reason I think we even have it better, those of us who are on the business side, sort of behind everything, is we don't get recognized in airports. So we kind of get that feeling, that vibe. We still get a lot of that buzz, and we don't have to put up with the hassles and the nonsense that goes along with it when you're on stage.
I can only imagine. I've often said I want to be successful, but I don't want to be famous.
No, fame is very overrated.
Yeah, that'd be tough to not be able to go to the grocery store. Although we're wearing masks now. So
yeah.
Anyways.
Totally.
So with you being able to start your own company and work on the gigs that you wanted to work on, how did your lifestyle change? I know you said you have time, you know, and had time to really be involved with your kids and your wife in baseball. What other changes happened?
Well, I mean, there's a certain level of stress that comes along with it. You know, you've got to go out and find stuff to work on. It's not just all coming in. It's not established. I was very fortunate that early on I had a great network, and I got a ton of referrals. But, you know, sometimes you get those dips. Right now there's one. You know, we're going through this whole thing with COVID-19, and it has completely decimated the live music business. And, you know, and it has ripple effects. It cuts all the way through. I mean, touring is one of the best marketing tools that we have, even as a record company. So, you know, when that goes away, everything else sort of comes down. And that, not having that net below you can be very exhausting at times. Yeah. And I think that's the main thing. But you know what? The trade of being able to take time with my family and being able to take vacations when I want to take them, even though I have to work from them because I don't have a staff. I'm a one-man show pretty much. And you know, it's that's the hard part. Also, knowing that I don't have to live with regret. I mean, there are lots of times where I say to myself, why did I leave that job? It was perfect. And you know what? In hindsight, financially, I'm not as well off. I'm not doing as well as I was before. I'm doing okay. But definitely from a financial standpoint, it was not a great decision. But I don't have to live with the regret of wondering what would have happened, which is huge. Right. And I do get this time with my kids that you don't get back.
Yeah. And I think that's priceless. I mean, I'm in the same
Hmm.
boat, I'll be honest, like starting a company, I think people sometimes think, wow, she must be doing really, really well.